The story of Robert Tellis. That's what we're going to be talking about here today with our guest, Eric Faddis, defense attorney and former prosecutor. Robert Tellis, a former Clark County public administrator, that is Las Vegas, for those of you playing along at home. Well, he lost his reelection bid after a reporter, Jeff German, in Las Vegas, did several pieces exposing corruption and behavior that was none too positive about him. Shortly after losing that reelection bid, Jeff German was murdered in his front lawn. The individual who committed the murder caught on multiple cameras looking very, well, suspicious, wearing a giant hat, a hat that most people would never really wear. Big orange jumpsuit, a bag, very conspicuous bag, and Nike shoes that also stood out in a crowd. And it certainly stood out on security camera footage. Eric, I got to ask you, as we get into this, they're going to try and make many arguments of evidence being planted, but we're talking about evidence that was found in his garage, in Robert Tellis's garage, cut up almost like with a scissors or a knife, the hat cut into pieces, the shoes cut into pieces. It's very bizarre. If you're going to try and get rid of evidence, this doesn't seem like the most effective way of doing it, of course, unless it was planted, or he's just done a very smart criminal, if in fact he is guilty of this. What are your thoughts?
These items are found there, and it shows a consciousness of guilt. It shows, that he believes he did something wrong and he doesn't want to get caught for it, in my opinion. The planting of evidence, they're going to have to come with some kind of substantiation of that, and I just haven't heard it.
Because there's been arguments that Tellis's office, when he went in there, he really rattled things, changed a lot of things up, cut back all the overtime that was going on in the office, which I don't know, could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, depending how needed they needed those people to be working overtime or not. But he made a lot of enemies while he was actually in office, and had some investigations into him as well.
That's very true. And in fact, Telus reports that he was receiving threatening voicemails and that kind of thing. So yeah, he had some nemesis out there. But would someone really go to the lengths of killing, an innocent person and then framing this guy, Telus, just because they hated Telus? That just seems like a logical leap that I think the jury might not be willing to make.
There's a lot of things that they're going to be looking at, in terms of the video evidence that we saw. And it's a very, I don't have it on me, but it's a very interesting one. A big old like gardening hat, like huge, almost like it reminds me of like Raiden from Mortal Kombat, but it's not. We're born. It's not quite that style, but it's close. He's going to raise his hands to the air, and lightning's going to come down. And then big bright orange jumpsuit, the sneakers, the bag, all of that. And he has kind of a walk to him as well. Whoever this was in that video has a specific kind of gait to them. How much do you think that stuff is going to be examined? And the other question that I know is being brought up is, this was a pretty bloody, horrible fight in the yard. There's, as far as we know, as of right now, there's no blood or anything on any of these pieces of evidence.
Yeah, when we're talking about a disguise, usually the idea is you don't want to get noticed, so maybe don't wear an orange jumpsuit and a big Mortal Kombat hat. But yeah, I mean, they're certainly going to look at that. You would expect that the individual, if they were wearing that during this very serious killing, would have something on them, like blood or biological material, and so that's going to be looked at. Defense is certainly going to emphasize that to the jury. But with respect to his gait, I bet the prosecution's going to tell us to get up and walk in front of the jury, and that's permissible in most jurisdictions. And the jury will be able to compare that gait with the gait of the person on the video.
How easy is that for someone to fake their gait and their walk? I mean, especially if you know, like, okay, the guy in the video is walking like this, I shouldn't walk like that.
Sure, yeah, there's that, but there's also, this gentleman tell us was a public official. I imagine that there is other footage of him, walking around, and if not, there are a ton of witnesses who worked with him on a day-to-day basis who could be asked, what does this dude walk like? And
Mhm.
then, see if that is comparable to what is on the video. And they're also going to want to look at whether the person on the video might be feigning some sort of gait that they don't normally have.
Hey, thanks for checking out the video. Be sure to follow us wherever you download podcasts, and especially Apple Podcasts, where you can get advanced episode and premium content on our premium channel right there. Also, be sure to follow us on social media so you don't miss any breaking updates on the stories that matter to you most. We're on TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook. Just search Hidden Killers Podcast with Tony Brueski, and you'll find us right there. Again, thanks for watching.